What's up, everyone? Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I got a very, very special guest that's helped tens of thousands of people from all over the world leave unfulfilling careers and jobs, build a business that matters, make an impact in the world, and create some financial freedom. Her name is Marie Forleo. Welcome, Marie.
Oh, so great to be here, Jake. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so if you never heard of Marie, she's like the absolute queen of teaching people how to build online businesses from their home. You know, if you follow our channel, obviously we talk about the law of attraction, mindset, personal development. But in order for me to be able to do this and deliver videos 7 days a week, you know, I've learned and brought on a partner that's learned the principles that Marie teaches, and there's no one better in the world that's taught. How can you do this? How can you, 75% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. 9 out of 10 people die with less than $10,000 and virtually no financial assets. There's not that much opportunity, but today with the internet, there's so much. And so first question is, Marie, how did you actually stumble upon becoming this like queen of online marketing and impacting so many people and not only earning tens of millions of dollars, but helping other people earn tens of millions of dollars?
Well, Jake, very much like you, and I think like a lot of people in your audience, I actually came into this world through personal development. I started my own coaching business at the ripe old age of 23. So I was a life coach. So everything I was teaching was around personal development. But this was in the embryonic stages of the online business world, right? This is in the early 2000s. I'm talking like 2000, when email newsletters were essentially non-existent. PDF, like ebooks, that was like mind-blowing. It was like, what is that? And I know it's hard for some of us to remember those days, but that was the reality. So I was trying to build this business. I was so insecure about how young I was, because the logical part of my mind was like, who the hell is going to listen to you? You're a 23-year-old. You haven't even lived much life yet. Why are people going to pay you for your expertise? So my insecurity drove me to strive to understand how to be the best business person I could be. And I really use the internet in an ethical way to kind of mask my age, because rather than going out there, and I did do speaking and stuff like that, I felt so comfortable being able to share ideas online and being able to work with people virtually. Again, this was brand new in those times. However, in my desire to continue learning, I would go to these business conferences and online conferences and try to soak up as much knowledge as I could. Sadly, and this wasn't true always, but it was a theme that I noticed. So many of the times when I would go to these business conferences, the folks on the stages would talk about customers like they were nothing more than numbers at the bottom of the balance sheet. And that hurt my heart. My dad was a small business owner. He had a small printing business. I grew up in a very blue collar kind of New Jersey family. We didn't have very much. And my experience of small business growing up with my dad was like, you put the customer first, you over deliver, you do everything possible to make people happy and to really just over deliver in terms of your value and your character, and you use your heart and soul. But what I was seeing out in the marketplace was completely different. There was no ethics. There was no heart. It was about extracting as much profit as possible. And that didn't sit well with me. And so as my travels went on, I also had a career in health and fitness. I used to teach hip hop and dance, and I was a Nike athlete for a while. I would come across so many creative people, so many heart-centered people, and they would ask me, Marie, how are you doing all of this? How do you have this life coaching business? You're doing these fitness DVDs, you're dancing, like, how is this all working? And I was so embarrassed, Jake, because I didn't feel like an expert in business at all. I didn't have an MBA. I was just a practitioner behind the scenes, understanding how to make things work. And then a light bulb went off, and I said, wow, I don't like the education that's out there. I don't agree with it. It's lacking soul. It's lacking this drive to make a difference. It's lacking aesthetic. It's also lacking a sense of humor, because most of us as adults, right, learning about things that are hard for some of us, like business, it doesn't come naturally. Like to be sitting in a room with like a binder and like people kind of screaming at you, you just feel so discouraged and like it can't work. So BSchool was really born out of my experience and my desire to help people understand that sales and marketing isn't icky. It doesn't have to be. That's an old school version, and that we could use these new tools, the internet, this incredible ability we have to connect with each other worldwide, and we could use it as a force for good.
Amazing. So I have tons and tons of friends who's taken it. Melissa Ambrosini is one of them that I know has become very successful. So for everyone listening, Marie's giving away 3 free training videos. The link's on the thing and it's going to be down below. Click into it right now and just check them out. She just wants to provide at least some initial value to see, no matter where you are, it's a possibility. I was 19 when I started what I was doing, and I relate to you feeling like really almost like ashamed and embarrassed. And I know regardless of everyone's age that's listening to this right now, we all in some way have that subconscious paradigm that's like, am I good enough? Am I smart enough? And some people might be listening to this too and thinking, well, I don't know anything about the internet. And so would either the free video series or BSchool, if somebody isn't an expert on the internet, is it still possible and valuable for somebody that can, there's people out here that want to do what we're doing. There's other people that have a health idea, an invention, just people that want to use the internet to get a product idea, a nonprofit, just something out, blogging. Is it valuable if you don't know that much about the internet?
Completely. I think one of my gifts, Jake, all of us have gifts, right? And one of my God-given gifts is being able to take sometimes complex ideas and subjects and break them down into kind of very digestible pieces. That's what I've become known for. Because again, I don't have multiple MBAs. I'm not the person that was so highly educated, but I have an ability to translate. So to answer your question, yes. And here's why. First of all, doing business online is the new reality of doing business. So whatever you want to do, you have to understand some of the core principles. And that's what the free series teaches you. Like, that's why I'm so excited about people going through it. Whether you buy BSchool or you do it, you don't do it, I don't care. I want to educate people. I want to help them create freedom for themselves. And even if you don't want to own your own business, I'll tell you this. I have so many intrapreneurs who have taken BSchool and they're thriving.
Explain what I just heard that term recently. So explain what that is.
So we are living in a new time, right? Where there is no longer such a thing as forever job security. You can't be hired by a company and expect to be there for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Everything is shifting. Technology has really upended every industry you can think of. And so even if you don't want to run your own business, you have to behave, if you want to thrive and be fulfilled, like an intrapreneur. That means someone who operates within a company, but is proactive, who understands all of the kind of big picture of business and who's looking out not only for their department, but their boss and their team members and their customers. So you don't have to necessarily want to run your own thing. But my opinion is, if you want to thrive in today's economy, and especially in the future, you need to understand certain principles. You need to understand customer service. You need to understand how to use digital tools to be able to share the message of the product or the service of the company who you work for, especially if you want it to survive. And if you want to become a linchpin, if you want to be someone when there's cuts being made or there's changes happening and they're looking at the list of employees, they're going to go, who's the most valuable? You know who it is? It's the employee who brings the most value. It's the one who's proactive. It's the one who's looking out for other people. So in that way, this free series, again, even if you don't want to start your own business, just watch the free content, because it'll open your eyes and your mind and your heart to possibilities that you may not be aware of right now.
And one thing on this channel that we talk a lot about, one of my favorite quotes is the Jim Rohn quote, where he says that success is something that comes to you. It's something you attract by the person that you become.
Yes.
And we talk a lot about, we have a system in a world that is engineered, for better or worse, that is keeping most people trapped until they're 65. Social Security's running out. There are people that are gambling on the biggest risk of all, that one day they can get the freedom back. And like you said, if even you want to advance, we need to become more valuable, right? And so if that speaks to you, this is what our channel is all about. The link's going to be down there, right down below. And there's people, comment what country in the world you're coming from when you're watching this, so Marie can see. There's going to be people from Iraq. There's people from Afghanistan, like everywhere. You were telling me before about some people from war-torn countries, from just places you wouldn't expect, that utilize the free video series and BSchool in order to build six-figure businesses. And I was wondering if you could elaborate on that for somebody who might say, well, I'm not in America, or I'm not in a Western world. And tell us tell us one amazing story too that will make us inspired.
Yes. So, okay. So to give context, right? Like you, Jake, we have an audience in 195 countries. So our General Marie TV audience, the podcast listeners. So I'm very used to having folks from everywhere. And that's what we love. We want all of us to connect. In BSchool, we have students across 130 countries that have gone through the program. So from Asia, from Africa, I mean, every corner of the planet come through BSchool. So I was actually thinking about a gentleman named Rodrigo, and he was from a South American country. He actually told us on video that he thinks that if he didn't find BSchool, that he would be dead, that there was so much violence, that he was near homelessness. He didn't have anything. And the community, the structure, and the possibilities gave him a path to choose a different future. It gave him an opportunity to look inside. And it makes me cry because Rodrigo, it's like, I know Rodrigo, I see him on the videos and he's such a happy guy, but he hadn't shared the fullness of his story. And now he's in a different country. So he created a new path for himself. He's earning more money than he ever thought possible. And he's so committed to giving back to his community wherever he goes. And we have stories and stories behind this. Jake, I'll share some links with you. There's over 185 case studies, and you can search by geographical location. So you can find folks in Indonesia, you can find folks in Europe, you can find folks in Australia, you can find folks all over, all the corners of the planet, and you can read their stories. And they're all unique, right? Not everyone has these. Some people have these extraordinary financial results, and we love them. And other people are like, you know what? I'm actually earning more money in less time, but it's not like a gajillion dollars more, but they have freedom. They're with their kids. They're, traveling. They're doing the kind of things that they want to do because that's their value system. And nothing makes me more happy than seeing people take their individual dreams, however diverse and different they are, and having the tools and the path to make them come to life.
Yeah, that's awesome. One thing that I think everyone, but especially my generation, talks a lot about is, like back in like the 60s or 70s, I'm from San Diego, and people say, that house is $2 million. I mean, that used to be $100,000. I mean, damn, is there anywhere else where you could buy property that's going to increase by 1,000% and you'll become a multimillionaire by buying something for nothing? And I tend to say no, and that the actual gold rush and the real estate of the future is the internet. Whether it's that you have an idea you're passionate about sharing that makes you want to listen to this and go on to Marie's free opt-in, or whether it's that you want to be able to put your children through school, or like you said, you want freedom. It's something we talk about a lot on the channel. Just because you're working harder, it doesn't even mean that you have more freedom.
Right.
Would you agree with the premise that you think one of the main real estate avenues or gold rushes of the future is the internet? And what would you say about that?
I do agree. And in this context, never before in history have we had the opportunity to be able to share our ideas, to connect with other people, to build value from nothing using largely free tools. And I know that these pieces of hardware do cost something, but these costs are coming down, right? Internet connection, in terms of looking at the data, by 2020, it's projected that between 3 and 5 billion more humans will be online. That means connected, right? Wireless and Wi-Fi, than is happening right now. And that represents aggregated trillions of dollars of opportunity. That's not even counting, the billions of people that are already online. So in terms of this idea of an opportunity to create value, it's all over. Again, whether you want to create your own business and run your own business, or whether you want to become a thought leader and a speaker. And you know what I mean? You want to be a crucial part of organizations that are global. You have an opportunity right now to share your ideas, to share your thoughts, to connect with people largely for free. And this has never happened. And I don't know, the shape it's going to take in the next 20 years, but right now is the time to get in on it.
What's the most unique business you've seen somebody use either your free downloads or BSchool to build? Because somebody might listen to this and they might say, well, I don't want to be a thought leader. What's the most unique things you've seen?
Some of them are, let's see. Well, we have people that sell yarn.
Wow.
multi-million dollar yarn business that didn't start out that way.
No
Okay.
way.
Yep. So yarn and knitting. Herbs in terms of selling like tinctures and healing oils. A hula hoop festival.
No way.
Yeah. And this is one of my favorite stories because I always say to people, I'm like, look, they're like, my business is too strange for BSchool. I'm like, look, you're going to be surrounded by a bunch of, I consider myself a weirdo. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I dance hip hop. I love hip hop. I love spirituality. I love personal development. I love marketing. I love all the things. I'm freaky. And all the people in BSchool, and I say that in a loving way, right? We embrace that diversity. We embrace not fitting into a mold. We embrace challenging assumptions. And when Rebecca, actually the hula hoop person, she was like, I kind of want to build this hula hooping festival. And she took all of the tools in BSchool and she made it a traveling, profitable hula hoop festival. And we're always like, if she can do it, all y'all got to just pipe down. Because it's possible. And what we focus on in BSchool is the timeless principles, right, Jake? So the technology always changes. You know that. There's tons of platforms. You know, we're on a particular platform right now that didn't exist 6 or 7 years ago. There's going to be new things that exist in another 6 or 7 years. But what doesn't change is understanding connection and creating value and human psychology and understanding all of those pieces that are timeless about our humanity. And when you begin to master those and train yourself in generosity, in empathy, in compassion, in listening, in over-delivering value, that's when you become the person that you want to be. And simultaneously, the byproduct, you actually become more successful.
That's awesome. So I know out there, I read everyone's comments. There's people that love Harry Potter to yarns. So there's people from everywhere. So everyone's got to make sure, no matter what it is, it's like, you know, we talk a lot about how we owe it to ourselves to finally embrace what it is our unique vision is. And, you know, we talk a lot about mindset, but one of the hiccups people will run into is they've got great mindset, they've got a great idea, but then the problem is you don't have the systems, the technology, the tools in place to allow your message to get out. Like, I'm 26. I've been doing this since I was 19. Most of you found me in the last 18 months, but that was because I learned these types of timeless principles. And so, you know, in order for somebody might say, well, why are we talking about marketing on the types of stuff we usually do? And it's because unless we learn these timeless principles, your dream, your idea, your gift, and your passion cannot get out to the world as fully as it could. And that's why I say everyone's got to go in and check at least the free video series out and see what Marie's about, because that's like the coolest thing ever, you know, is a yarn business. And I always say, there's people that have multi-million-dollar Harry Potter fan club businesses and sell witchcraft brooms online.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. We have 7 billion humans, and everyone has interests and they want to connect and they want to engage in their passions. And we're all so unique and diverse. So there's room for all of us. But coming back to what you said, one of the things that I love to teach people, especially when they have hesitations or negative associations with sales and marketing, which again are well-founded, right? Because of these old archaic practices where if you think about marketing and sales, many of us conjure up a vision in our mind of like some kind of slimy, weird used car salesman smoking on a cigar, trying to like make a deal and take advantage of you. But that's old, and that idea will limit you. Modern marketing, which is what we teach, brings out the best of your humanity, not the worst. And when it's executed right, you really do become the person that you're meant to be. And here's the other thing I want to say. You could have the best product and service in the world. It could be world changing. But if no one knows about it, you are stealing from those who need you most. Stealing. Because it's not their job to come find you. It's your job to get in front of them. And that's the paradigm shift that people need to understand. And when they embrace that and they see this as an act of service, which is really what it is, everything changes.
See, that's mind blown, is like those little small fundamental shifts in perception allow us to go from like, I can't do it, to actually, who am I not to? You know, Bob Proctor always says that you're trading your time away for something. You're trading your life away for something. And now the question is what you're trading your time and your life away worth you? And most people are trading their time away for something that isn't worth them. And I know every person listening to this has a big dream, has a big idea, whether it's yarn or Harry Potter or thought leader or books or musician or building a personal brand or health. And you know that it's worth you. And so at least please check out the free video series. And then the last thing I want to ask you, and Marie's a very busy person, so this is the last question, is what would you say when you just look around online, right? Whether it's somebody trying to build a brand, and there's a lot of musicians that follow this channel too. Please subscribe to Marie's info if you're a musician too. But what would you say, whether someone's trying to build a personal brand or what have you? I don't know if that's too broad, but what is the common, if you could say like one or two biggest like mistakes people make when they're like trying to go out online?
Yes. Okay. So two things. One, lack of consistency. That is one of the biggest things that trips people up. They will like share something on social, or they'll put out a song, or they'll put out a video, or they'll put out a blog post or an email, or whatever that piece of content is. That's an expression of their creativity, right? That is designed to get things out there and connect with other humans. And then they like drop off the map for a month or two. And they're like, I'm not going to post anything. It didn't get that good of a response. So that lack of consistency can be crushing to your success. Jake, one of the things that I always say, and I don't know if I can curse on your show, so I won't.
I do it on accident sometimes. So you can go, don't worry about it.
People have asked me, like, what do you think is the real secret of your success? And I said, you know what it is? I am a relentless motherfucker. I just don't stop. I mean, it's been 18 years. You know, Marie TV has been going now for almost 10 years. This is BSchool's 9th year, almost 40,000 graduates. I just don't stop. So consistency, that's number one.
40,000 graduates?
Yes.
Wow.
We're just about there. We're just a little bit of a hair. This year we'll cross over. The second thing is caring too much what other people think. You know, there's this phrase that I always say, it's one of my mantras. It's the more you care about what people think, the more they own you. Especially creatives, we hold ourselves back because we don't want to annoy anyone. We don't want to get anyone upset. What if people don't like us? What if people criticize us? What if people don't agree with our point of view, or they don't like our art? And it's like, the more you stay in that mindset, first of all, it destroys your consistency because you start living in fear, right? And you stop putting things out there, but you start to squash the real you. Like, I just asked you right now if I could curse because I wanted to be respectful. This is your show and I want to honor you and I want to honor your audience. But the truth is, it's like, I'm from Jersey, and when I get fired up, that's how it happens sometimes. It doesn't happen all the time, but that's the real me. And if someone's like, I don't like her, that's foul language, that's fine. I honor you. I bless you. But that means that I'm not your teacher, because that is going to happen sometimes. So whenever we dial down our light and try and fit into these narrow boxes to make other people like us, it doesn't work. And it destroys our ability to have the explosive growth and that authentic connection that we're meant to have as humans. Not everyone is going to like you. Here's like the breaking news. Not everyone likes you right now. There's people in your life that judge the crap out of you all the time. That's human nature. So if you're going to live in this small, little, tiny, narrow box and try to never upset anyone, you're going to come to the end of your life with so much regret. And I don't want to see people have that.
Amen. So this is awesome. For everyone listening, we got somebody on that created BSchool, which is an online business academy that's helped tens of thousands of people, no matter where you are in the world. So whether you're listening to this in America or Iraq, or whether you like yarn, or you want to be an author or a blogger or a health person, or you want to get promoted at your company and you want to learn principles about this, you can go into your business meetings and be like, hey, I think this will help our problem that we're facing right now. Everyone, please go to jakeducey.com/BSchool, just a letter B school, because in the least you can get some epic principles off of, she's giving away 3 free video series that you can use, and that they might help you get a promotion. It might help you, inspire you to finally take your passion or your idea seriously. And I'm really excited because our channel is all mindset, and that's great. But you wouldn't even be watching this video unless I had applied these principles to everything that was my passion and my ideas. Unless I applied them, nobody would be even listening to this. And that's why it's so important that you do as well.
Yes. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. Thank you for having me on. I feel honored.
Yeah, no, it's great to see you again. It's been a little bit. So,
Yes.
final thank you to Marie. Everyone go sign up, comment where in the world you're coming from so Marie can see too. I know it probably feels amazing for her to see how many countries in the world this is reaching, right? Because when we grasp that we don't have to do the things that we don't want to do, we may need to do it for a year, for 2 years to get a plan in place, but this can be your plan, you know? And I know so many of you have been inspired by the channel and been inspired by the work. Please use these tools and systems. Head to jakeducey.com/bschool. Sign up for the free training. And thank you for joining us, Marie.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. Thanks, everybody.